The binocular market is absolutely flooded with options, and half the reviews out there are written by people who've never actually used them in the field. I'm talking about real-world testing here. Dawn patrol bird watching, backpacking trips where gear gets beaten up, and those late-night stargazing sessions where you need optics that actually perform when it matters. Today, I'm breaking down the top 5 binoculars, from a budget-friendly beginner option that won't destroy your wallet to premium glass that'll make you question reality. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into the binoculars that are actually worth your hard-earned money. And if you see a pair you love, I've dropped updated links with the best pricing in the description below. Number 5. Nikon Monarch M7. Alright, let's kick things off with the Monarch M7, and honestly, this is where I tell every beginner to start their binocular journey. At around $496.95, you're getting what I like to call the friendly handshake into serious optics. Now, I know that might sound like a lot for your first pair, but hear me out. This isn't some toy you'll outgrow in 6 months. Nikon packed this thing with extra low dispersion glass, dielectrically coated roof prisms, and rock-solid waterproofing. What does all that fancy talk mean? Basically, you're getting brighter images, colors that actually look real, and binoculars that won't fog up the second you step outside. The numbers on this thing are pretty sweet too. You're looking at a generous 362-foot field of view at 1,000 yards, which means you can scan those busy tree lines without giving yourself whiplash. At 24 ounces, they won't turn your neck into a pretzel during those long birding sessions either. The eye relief sits at a comfortable 16.5 millimeters. So if you wear glasses like me, you're not going to be squinting and struggling to see anything. Plus, that locking diopter means once you've got your settings dialed in, they're staying put. No more constantly readjusting every time you pick them up. Out in the real world, these things just work. I've used them at dawn when everything's still silhouetted, and those silhouettes stay tack sharp. Even under those gray, overcast skies that make everything look washed out, colors still pop through these lenses. The balance feels natural in your hands, sitting comfortably back toward your face, so you can glass for hours without your arms screaming at you. And here's the kicker. Nikon backs these with a lifetime warranty. For under $500, you're basically getting a reliable long-term companion that just happens to be priced for beginners. Number 4. Vortex Viper HD. Now bump up your budget by about $100 and you land on the Vortex Viper, and man, does this thing punch way above its weight class. The MSRP sits at $649.99, but keep your eyes peeled for online deals that can drop it into the mid-500s. Even at full price though, this is what I call a screaming bargain, especially when you factor in Vortex's absolutely insane unconditional lifetime warranty. I'm talking if it breaks, we fix it. No questions asked, no matter how spectacularly you manage to destroy it. Performance-wise, these things are almost unfair for the money. You're getting 341 feet of view at 1,000 yards, close focus down to 6 feet, and that ED glass that just kills chromatic aberration before you ever notice it's there. At 24.9 ounces, the magnesium chassis keeps things light without feeling cheap or hollow. The twist-up eye cups give you a cushy 17 millimeters of eye relief, and they've got argon purging for fog-proof confidence. That focus wheel? It's like butter, smooth as silk, and gets you from infinity to minimum focus in just over a turn. In actual field use, these things are a joy to work with. Summer greens stay true and natural instead of looking like someone cranked up the saturation slider. And I've watched elk hair glow this beautiful auburn color in sunset light that just looked absolutely stunning. You can pivot from long-range glassing to checking out butterflies without missing a beat. The grip coating hits that sweet spot of being tactile without being sticky, so even with winter gloves on, you feel secure. And here's the thing about value. It's not just about price, it's about trust. Can you trust this optic everywhere you take it? With the Viper HD, that answer is absolutely yes. Number 3. Celestron SkyMaster. Okay, now we're switching gears completely because the Celestron SkyMaster is a whole different beast. At just $109, These things cost about as much as a fancy dinner, but they can pull the moon close enough for you to count crater shadows. These are unapologetically big and bright. We're talking 70mm objective lenses that just gulp down light. Yeah, they're heavy at 52 ounces, but Celestron knows what they're doing here. They even include a tripod adapter because, let's be honest, once the stars come out, these babies are meant to live on a panning head. The specs read like a mini telescope cheat sheet. That 25 times magnification reaches way out there, while a 2.8mm exit pupil and multi-coated Bay K4 prisms keep things surprisingly bright for such high power. Now the field of view is pretty narrow at 141 feet at 1,000 yards. It's like looking through a tunnel. But that's the trade-off you make for pulling Saturn's rings into glorious focus. Eye relief sits at 13mm, which is decent if you can ditch the thick glasses for stargazing sessions. Under real stars, these things absolutely earn their name. The Milky Way resolves into what looks like dusted sugar. Jupiter's moons line up like perfect little marbles. And during the day, distant ships and ridgelines just pop into view. The included soft case and lens caps are pretty basic, but they do the job. Add a $20 red flashlight and you've got yourself a complete beginner astronomy kit. Look, I'm not going to lie. Hand-holding these feels like wrestling with a paint can, and the edge sharpness isn't perfect. But as a low-risk gateway to the cosmos, nothing beats the grin per dollar ratio of the SkyMaster. Number 2. Swarovski NL Pure. All right, now we're stepping into serious territory. Drop $3,000 on the NL Pure and they better feel like magic. And honestly, they absolutely do. Swarovski engineered these to just vanish in your hands. That wasp waist barrel design centers the 29.6-ounce mass so perfectly that you genuinely forget you're holding glass. When you bring that massive 399-foot field of view up to your eyes, it's like the landscape just blooms edge to edge with zero distortion. I'm talking IMAX window levels of immersion here. The tech under the hood is basically a greatest hits album of optical engineering. Fluorite HD elements throttle chromatic aberration. Field flattener lenses keep corners as sharp as the center. And those SWAROBRIGHT coatings wring every single photon out of dusk light. The eye box is absolutely luxurious. 18mm of eye relief with a round exit pupil that stays full even as shadows start growing. Weatherproofing is submarine-level sealed, nitrogen-filled and tested to 13 feet underwater, all wrapped in a magnesium chassis that absorbs knocks without adding weight. Use these once and you'll understand every penny of that price tag. I've watched golden eagles at a mile where I could see individual flight feathers, fall foliage that radiates these painterly reds without any oversaturation, and the depth perception feels so natural your brain just forgets it's looking through optics. That focus wheel runs like a silk-bearing fidget spinner, snapping from 6 feet to infinity in under 2 revolutions. If optical decadence is your love language, the NL Pure doesn't just speak it, it recites poetry. And here we are at number 1, the Victory SF. Tied in price with that Swarovski at $2,999.99, but edging it out on pure versatility. This thing justifies every penny with straight-up do-everything prowess. Zeiss's ergo-balance chassis shifts weight rearward, so this 27.5-ounce body steadies like a monopod in your palms, even when you're dealing with windy cliff edges. But here's the kicker. Close focus dives to an absolutely insane 5 feet. The same optic that tracks mountain goats on distant ridges can micro-inspect a dragonfly's wing veins without any refocusing gymnastics. Optically, the SF marries that crazy close focus with a 360-foot field at 1,000 yards, powered by Abe Koenig prisms pushing 92% light transmission. Colors feel like they're carved straight from reality. Contrast pops like you've got HDR turned on, and Zeiss's proprietary hydrophobic coating shakes off rain like a freshly waxed car hood. The smart focus concept means 1 1/4 turns take you from macro to infinity, and that oversized wheel sits exactly where your index finger wants to be. It's like they designed it specifically for your hand. Field testing is where this thing absolutely seals the win. I've handheld peregrine falcon dives at 10 times magnification without any blur, pivoted to lichen-covered rock faces, then dipped down to shoreline flowers. All before other premium pairs had even found their next focus stop. Add Zeiss's transferable lifetime warranty and bomb-proof construction, and the Victory SF isn't just a high-performance tool. This thing is an heirloom-grade ticket to every wildlife moment you'll chase for the next 30 years.